And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we will be discussing some recent comments and positions that Nassim Taleb recently came out and took. He basically questioned the actual use cases of blockchain technology outside of speculating on the prices of digital assets like Ripple and Dogecoin. And I think that that's a fair critique. I think that that's a fair question to ask, but I think it's disingenuous because Nassim Taleb is not stupid. He's not an idiot. He clearly knows and understands that this technology is being adopted and used today, whether it's investment banks like Goldman Sachs creating a repo market where they can facilitate the buying and selling and settlement of treasuries, whether it's the NFT market where you have people like Tory Lanez and Kings of Leon actually launching NFT album projects. Jay-Z recently launched the Reasonable Doubt cover as an NFT image. You have projects like Audius where they have over 40 to 50,000 unique visitors coming onto the platform every single day. And Audius is a streaming platform similar to Spotify. So clearly this technology is being adopted. Clearly this technology is being used outside of speculating. But again, what you have to understand is that people like Nassim Taleb, he's an academic and his entire career is based around his popularity so that he can sell books and he can get booked for lectures. See, the way that the internet is currently structured is that most people are binary thinkers, right? So you're going to have people who will buy into this technology, and then you're going to have people who missed out on this technology or they're skeptical of it. So therefore, he gives them their confirmation bias when he comes out because he's a brilliant man. I have his books, so I'm not a person that's just a hater. I have Fooled by Randomness. I have the book The Black Swan. I have his other book, Anti-Fragile. So I'm not a person who is just making this video because I want to be provocative or I'm doing this for clout or clicks. But people like him, he's doing this for clickbait reasons because on one end of the spectrum earlier this year, he came out and he was supportive of cryptocurrencies. Now he's releasing things like the black paper, and he's doing this because, see, think about this. If he doesn't take this position, I'm not even speaking about him or his work. So by him taking this anti-crypto stance or this anti-Bitcoin stance, what it does now is it makes him relevant again. It creates clicks. It creates conversations. Now Bloomberg and CNBC and other media outlets will want to bring him on board so that he can come and speak and spew his criticisms and his critiques. It's not a matter of if this technology is going to be adopted. It's really just a matter of when. And we're watching it happen right now. I spoke about this the other day. This is your JavaScript in the browser moment. This is your App Store moment that you literally have the ability now to invest in base layer protocols that's going to be the rails to shape the future. You're watching this happen as we speak. So when you look back at the Web 1.0 with HTML static web pages, all you could really do is read those pages. You really could not actually add content until JavaScript was introduced to the browser. And then it allowed you to be able to write to web pages and create what we know as the Web 2.0. And then smart and genius people were able to create e-commerce and websites and web pages and sell books and do so many different things and things like YouTube that you never thought was possible until JavaScript came into the browser. The App Store and this iPhone right here, TikTok, Instagram doesn't exist without this device. This device was able to propel and create so many different industries and businesses. The idea of being an influencer, the idea of a selfie, all of that was spurred because and created because of the internet, and then the layers that was built on top of the internet. And the internet kept iterating and getting better to the point where Steve Jobs creates this device. And now this device allows you to be able to do so many different things with this powerful device, where now you have people creating a whole business around the idea of being an influencer and a TikToker. That doesn't exist without this device. So understand that you have the ability right now. You're looking at your app store moment. You're looking at your JavaScript in the browser moment, but you're going to allow people like Nassim Taleb to steal that away from you. Don't forget that academics like Paul Krugman came out and basically said in 1998, the growth of the internet will slow drastically as the flaw in Metcalfe's law becomes apparent. Most people have nothing to say to each other. By 2005, it will become clear that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. Think about that. This is a guy, Paul Krugman, who's another academic who's critical of Bitcoin, who came out and said that the internet will have no greater impact than the fax machine back in 1998. Here we are now in 2021, and the internet is dominating everything that you can possibly ever think of. So why am I sharing this with you? You have to understand that the whole idea of being an academic, right, is that they talk about what you can't do because they only can see the world that you currently live in. They're not people who are forward looking, right? They're not progressive minds. They're regressive minds. They look backwards towards data that's happened already. People like Steve Jobs, people like Charles Hoskinson, people like Vitalik, people like Satoshi Nakamoto. These are people that are forward looking, meaning that they can see a world that doesn't exist right now. I always use this story, and I have to keep highlighting this. I remember being a freshman in college going into my sophomore year and sitting in my courtyard, and I'm playing with my teammates' iPod Touch, and I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at that device, and I said, it's only a matter of time before they turn that device into a phone. And here we go in the fall. Steve Jobs walks on the stage with his black shirt and his dungaree jeans and announces the iPhone. Now, when the first iPhone is launched, it doesn't have the App Store. It doesn't have a camera. But I could see a future that didn't exist at that moment. I see a future with this technology that many of you cannot see. I see decentralized identity. I see decentralized finance. I see people being able to borrow and lend right from their device. I see application and games being built on protocols like Decentraland. I see Aave and Maker, where you have Maker being a decentralized central bank. I see Aave being a autonomous and decentralized bank, a commercial bank where you can go and borrow and lend. I see that world. I see a peer-to-peer world. I see a world where you have protocols like Polkadot and Cosmos that allows blockchains to talk to each other, where you have a blockchain, like an enterprise blockchain or a government blockchain in Cardano talking to the Ethereum blockchain. I see that. Many of you don't see that world because either you missed the initial boom or you're listening to people that are academics that they can speak really well, but that's really just a bunch of psychobabble to keep you stuck in a paradigm. You cannot miss your JavaScript in a browser moment because see what this technology is allowing you to do. It's allowing you to express yourself in ways that you never thought you could possibly do it. You have comedians right now on Instagram who's realizing their comedic rise by making 60-second and 30-second TikTok videos. Cardi B doesn't exist without this device. She's just, as she said, a regular girl from the Bronx. She's just another stripper. But because she's funny and she has access to this device and she has access to Instagram and she's making funny little videos, that propels her, that makes her go viral. That's the power of technology. Technology will eat the world. So you can listen to the Paul Krugmans and the Nassim Talebs who are wrong, and I'm going to highlight that throughout this video, or you can listen to entrepreneurs, people like myself, like Steve Jobs, like people like Vitalik, people like Charles, who are creating and shaping the future today. You have the ability to invest in that. So yes, I do agree with him in terms of there is a lot of speculation in garbage like Ripple and garbage like Dogecoin. And this is why we're going through the correction phase right now. We have to punish the idiots. You want to put your money in Ripple? We will punish you. You want to put your money in Dogecoin? You will get punished. But out of the Dogecoins, out of the Ripples, will be multi-trillion-dollar protocols that the world will be built on top of. That's what you have to be mindful of. That's what you're investing in. So throughout this video, I'm going to highlight a whole bunch of different use cases. I'm going to go into how people were fearful and questioning whether someone would want to use their credit card on the internet back in 1997. Now here we are. People, not only do people not use their credit card on the internet, but they put it into devices like this and they use Apple Pay every day. So we have a lot to discuss. Please do me a favor as you come into the live stream. Please like this video, share this video. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Make sure that you click the notification bell and you set it to all so that you can receive my notifications when I go live. If you're not receiving my notifications, also in the description below, there's a link to join my mailing list. Please join my mailing list so that you can be notified via email when I'm going live if you're not receiving my live notifications from YouTube, because sometimes YouTube just doesn't send it out. Also, you can follow me on Instagram. I share content in different formats on my Instagram page. And if you are someone that you're looking to join a community, learn about this technology, how the technology actually works, how to build this technology, how to develop this technology, I created My Tech Academy. We currently have a free 3-day trial. It will cost you absolutely nothing if you cancel within the first 3 days. So I think that covers everything, and a link for that will be in the description below. Also, the lifetime memberships are back and they're available now. Please take advantage of that so that you don't miss out. And if you can see me and hear me clearly, please type 1 in the chat and we can get started. Let me just remove myself real quick. Okay, so everyone's saying 1. Everyone can see and hear me clearly. That's good. I saw a donation come through from Pocket Watching with JT. Guys, he has a really good channel. He's a professional accountant. Definitely go reach out to him if you have any accounting questions or needs. He says academics are just talking heads. They're not practitioners that actually do the work. They live in the world of theory, like Boyce Watkins. Absolutely. Boyce Watkins is absolutely disgusting. I, for the life of me, do not understand how anyone can take that man serious. But that's for a video for a later date. I'm not going to get into Moist Watkins right now, but definitely we'll be diving into Boyce later on. So let's go back over here now. As you can see, it says, genuine question. Don't talk about potential, talk about uses. And then someone said underneath here, what is blockchain being used for during the past 10 years, apart from speculating on Binance? Well, let's talk about some of the things that it's actually being used for. Right here, Goldman Sachs begins trading on JP Morgan's repo blockchain network. Goldman Sachs, for those of you who do not know, is an investment bank, and JP Morgan's an investment bank as well as a commercial bank. Let me put this link in here so you could go and read it on your own. Let's just read a few paragraphs real quick. It says, Goldman Sachs Group, Inc. has joined the blockchain-based network created by JP Morgan Chase & Company for repurchase agreements that use smart contracts in a digitized version of the US dollar. Its first trade came on June 17th when it swapped a tokenized version of a US Treasury bond for JPM coin, JP Morgan's internal representation of a digital dollar, according to Matthew McDermott, global head of digital assets for Goldman's Global Markets Division. He declined to give the value of the trade. We see this as a pivotal moment for the digitization of transactional activity, McDermott said Tuesday in an interview. Unlike in the traditional repo market, the exact amount of time the banks took to complete the transaction was quantifiable. In this case, it was 3 hours and 5 minutes. Knowing the precise time is a big step for the current market, as is the way the collateral and cash are interchanged simultaneously and immediately, McDermott said. We pay interest per the minute. He said, we firmly think this will change the nature of the intraday marketplace. JP Morgan created the new repo market using its version of the Ethereum blockchain with its first trades in December. It has gone on to trade more than $1 billion a day through its Onyx blockchain platform. Notice you're going to hear a common theme with all of these different use cases that I speak about. Again, this is a repo market that has been created on top of the Ethereum blockchain that is settling over $1 billion per day in treasury trades. $1 billion per day. This isn't something that's potential. It's happening. And notice it's not happening on Bitcoin. It's happening on top of Ethereum. This is why I'm so bullish on Ethereum. Bitcoin is technically limited because of the scripting language that Bitcoin uses. The only thing you can do with your Bitcoin is you can buy it and you can hold it like a pet rock. That's about it, because it's designed to be digital gold. Not saying that Bitcoin is a scam. Not saying that it's a bad investment. Saying that it's technically limited. Ethereum utilizes a Turing-complete programming language, which allows you to write expressive smart contracts where you can do much more than just hold it. Now, again, that's another bank that's using this technology. Here we go again. European Investment Bank issues 121 million digital notes using Ethereum. Again, use case. The European Investment Bank, the lending arm of the European Union, used Ethereum technology to issue 100 million euros, which is equivalent to 120 million US dollars, in 2-year digital notes for the first time, the EIB said. Again, these are people using the technology. And this is just me quickly pulling this information up. This is not me, spending hours of researching this. So if I know this, of course, someone like Nassim Taleb knows this. He knows that this technology is being adopted. Here we have the Audius project. Audius brings NFT galleries to EDM heavy streaming service. Audius, a decentralized music streaming service with big user numbers for a Web3 project, has launched a non-fungible token showcase feature for its resident artists. On average, right now, this blockchain music service, Audius, has 30 to 50,000 active listeners and users on its platform. This is a streaming platform similar to Spotify, but it's utilizing a blockchain. And again, it's running on top of the Ethereum network, right? So this is the power of Ethereum. This is why I'm so bullish on Ethereum, and I keep telling you that Ethereum will flip Bitcoin, because it has more utility, more use cases where people are actually facilitating trade and commerce on a daily basis. When you look at Bitcoin, all people talk about doing is hodling it. You don't see anyone actually using it. That is the power. And don't talk to me about gas fees, because we have enough layer 2 scaling solutions today where gas fees have dramatically been reduced. And once we get to Ethereum 2.0, it's going to absolutely knock everything out of the water. Here we go again. Jay-Z launches an official NFT for the Reasonable Doubt album. So this isn't about people speculating on Rocket. This isn't about people speculating on Dogecoin. And it's damn sure is not about people speculating with a scam and a garbage like Ripple. These are people that are actually facilitating and using this technology on a daily basis to actually do business, right? And as Goldman Sachs stated, being able to time and know exactly how long it takes to do a swap is extremely important when you're dealing with an interest-bearing asset like a treasury. So clearly, it's useful in their day-to-day business operations and saving them money. So it's not a matter of guessing. It's a matter of actually happening right now. Kings of Leon is a band. Kings of Leon will be the first band to release an album as an NFT, a non-fungible token. This happened already. Tory Lanez released, I think, 3 or 4 music tracks on top of Bondly. We watched Logan Paul create custom like Pokemon cards for himself and his brother on the, what's the name? It was either Logan Paul or Jake Paul, I believe, on top of Bondly. Again, this is happening as we speak. This is not something that is potential. And Nassim Taleb knows this. But again, he has a vested interest in being provocative for the sake of being provocative. Why? Because by him doing this and taking his position, I'm talking and speaking about him right now. You're watching. Many of you probably don't even know who this individual is. But because he took an anti-crypto position and he went on and wrote the quote unquote black paper, this is why people are speaking about him. Beeple sold 69 million, an NFT for $69 million. Sold. Not he's selling, not maybe, not in the future. He's doing it as we speak. That is the power of this technology, because this technology is designed to remove middlemen. And it's only going to get bigger as more and more artists start to realize how they can cut out the middlemen and they can get straight direct to consumer in a peer-to-peer fashion, where they can control their royalties, where they can control their distribution, where they can control their publishing. This is going to be extremely powerful for those who want to take back control of what's going on. Now, again, for those of you coming in, this is what Nassim Taleb responded to a person who said, what is blockchain being used for during the past 10 years, apart from speculating at Binance? Well, I just clearly showed you that this technology is definitely being used for more than just speculating at Binance. And it's happening as we speak. Now, when people try to push back on his paper, let's look at how he responded. Again, if you don't believe me, you can go and verify this yourself. He responds when Peter McCormick offered him to come onto the podcast. Let's debate. Let's talk, right? You're an academic. This is an academic, mind you. He goes, listen, fucking idiot. Go write your own rebuttal. The only good thing your amoeba brain is good at is in harassing mobs, intimidating honest people who have a different opinion, pushing them to close their Twitter accounts. So stay quiet on my thread and keep your mouth shut. This is an academic. See, he doesn't want to debate the issues. He wants to be provocative for the sake of selling books, because he understands that the more provocative you are, the more viral you're going to go. And because we live in this era of fake news, this is what happens. And again, I want to show you that I'm not a troll. I have Nassim Taleb's books. I've read his books. He writes phenomenal books. I encourage you to go out and read his books. Fooled by Randomness, The Black Swan, the other book right here, Anti-Fragile. I've read his books. I think it's phenomenal. I still think his work is good. I just understand that he's being a grifter at this point, right? He's doing this because he wants to go out here and be able to be relevant and drive clicks, because in the social media world, all attention is good attention, whether it's good or bad. And again, this is not to get political. I don't care what you think about Trump or not. But when he was talking about the era of fake news, where people can just tweet something or say something, and it doesn't matter if it's factually correct or not, people are going to talk about it, because most people are not going to do the due diligence. Most people live in echo chambers. They only follow media or personalities that they agree with based upon their ideology. And that's dangerous. See, I follow people who I don't agree with, and notice that I follow them. And then when he says something, I can rebut what he's saying with actual factual information. I'm not just spewing things out here, and then I'm giving you the links to the information for you to go out here and make an educated and informed opinion and decision. Now, some of his critiques against Bitcoin are legitimate. As I said before, as I grow and I develop, I am not that much of a Bitcoin bull. I'm more of a layer 2, more of a blockchain 2.0 bull. I'm more into a smart contract, decentralized application platform bull. So whether it's in an Avalanche or Cardano or an Ethereum, that's what I'm into. Or I believe that there's going to be a multi-chain world. So I'm more of a bull on like infrastructure that allows blockchains to talk to each other or get data into blockchains. So if it's a chain link, I'm a bull on a chain link. A Cosmos, I'm a bull on a Cosmos. Polkadot, because these technologies will allow other blockchains to talk to each other. But academics have been getting it wrong. As I said earlier, this is Paul Krugman. He won a Nobel Peace Prize. He said back in 1998, the growth of the internet will slow drastically as the flaw in Metcalfe's law becomes apparent. Most people have nothing to say to each other. In 2005, it will become clear that the internet's impact on the economy has been no greater than the fax machines. Now, again, Just so you know, you can actually go look this up. This is the actual real article. This man won a Nobel Peace Prize. So he said by 2005, you would realize that the internet has no great impact. Yet here we are in 2021. Can't we say that that's categorically false on every level? Imagine if you followed this man's investment advice. Imagine if you said, you know what, I'm not going to invest in the Oracles, the IBMs, the Apples of the world, the Yahoos of the world. I'm not going to invest in the Facebooks, the Amazons, the Netflix, the Googles, because the internet is going to have no greater impact than the fax machine. How poor would you be? How much of that wealth transfer would you have missed out on by listening to an academic? And yet this man won a Nobel Peace Prize to be factually incorrect. This article right here, I shared this before. The internet, this article was written by Clifford Stoll. He's another academic, really, really smart guy. In 1995, he talked about why cyberspace isn't and will never be nirvana. So let's go and read that article. And I want to share this article with you because I want to show you how just grossly wrong these academics have gotten it and will continue to get it. So it says, and again, the date right here is 2/26/1995. And let me zoom in a little bit more so we can see this. It says, after 2 decades online, I'm perplexed. It's not that I haven't had a gas of a good time on the internet. I've met great people and even caught a hacker or two. But today, I'm uneasy about this most trendy and oversold community. Visionaries see a future of telecommuting workers, interactive libraries, and multimedia classrooms. They speak of electronic town hall meetings and virtual communities. Commerce and business will shift from offices and malls to networks and modems, and the freedom of digital networks will make governments more democratic. Now, again, this was written in 1995, and he's basically saying that visionaries see these things happening, but they won't happen. Well, ask yourself, we're in 2021. Didn't all of those things happen? Everything that he said would not happen, happened. And we just witnessed that with this whole great reset shift that we're going through right now, where people are using Zoom to do meetings, where YouTube is the world's largest library, or Google is the world's largest library, right? And we know that YouTube is basically is owned by Google. People teach, we have Khan Academy, which is basically an online school. We have online college universities, but yet this smart man in 1995 said that these things would not exist. Commerce. Right now, people are sending me donations. That's commerce. People are joining my tech academy. That's commerce, facilitating on the internet. Again, an academic, a smart man, book smart, but common sense dumb, which is why I named my channel, What Happened to Common Sense? Because common sense is deadly. Common sense mixed with people who take action is extremely deadly. Baloney. Do our computers lack all common sense? The truth is, no online database will replace your daily newspaper. No CD-ROM can take the place of a competent teacher, and no computer network will change the way governments works. Consider today's online. The Unsent, a worldwide bulletin board, allows anyone to post messages across the nation. Your word gets out, leapfrogging editors and publishers. Every voice can be heard cheaply and instantly. The result, every voice is heard. The cacophony more closely resembles citizens' band radio, complete with handles, harassments, and anonymous threats. When most everyone shouts, few listen. How about electronic publishing? Try reading a book on a disc. At best, it's an unpleasant chore. The myopic glow of a clunky computer replaces the friendly pages of a book. And you can't tote the laptop to the beach. Yet Nicholas, director of the MIT Media Lab, predicts that we'll soon buy books and newspapers straight over the internet. Sure. This was in 1995. Now, I don't have to, again, see, he's not an entrepreneur, so he's not a problem solver. He's an academic. He's like Nassim Taleb. He's like Paul Krugman. They only can tell you about the problems. They only can recite data from the past. So when he's talking, he's envisioning a world where you're going to carry a clunky computer to the beach. He's not envisioning a world where you're going to have this device right here, where you're going to shrink a computer, where now you could put a computer in your pocket and you could take this computer with you to the beach. And now you can do commerce from your phone, and you can buy a book and you can read the book on your phone. And if you're too lazy to read the book, you can go out and purchase the audiobook and listen to the book. See, an entrepreneur has that vision. I have that vision of this technology, of blockchain technology, of distributed ledger technology. And I understand what the future will look like because I can see a world that doesn't exist right now. I look at problems as money, because if I can solve the problem, I can make more money. That's how entrepreneurs view problems. Great. There's a problem. Let me solve it so I can get rich. That's the power of it. Now, what I want to do is I want to share this with you because this video is powerful about what I'm about to say. And this is Steve Jobs back in 1995. Steve Jobs was a visionary. And see, so many people got Steve Jobs wrong because look what Steve Jobs had to fight with all of these idiots. But anyway, let's just get to the video and then I'll go on my rant.
Well, I think the internet and the web, there are two exciting things happening in software and in computing today. I think one is objects, but the other one is the web. The web is incredibly exciting because it is the fulfillment of a lot of our dreams that the computer would ultimately not be primarily a device for computation, but metamorphosize into a device for communication. And with the web, that's finally happening. And secondly, it's exciting because Microsoft doesn't own it, and therefore there's a tremendous amount of innovation happening. So I think that the web is going to be profound in what it does to our society. As you know, about 15% of the goods and services in the U.S. are sold via catalogs or over the television. All that's going to go on the web and more. Billions and billions, soon tens of billions of dollars worth of goods and services are going to be sold on the web. A way to think about it is the ultimate direct-to-customer distribution channel. Another way to think about it is the smallest company in the world can look as large as the largest company in the world on the web. So I guess I think the web, as we look back 10 years from now, the web is going to be the defining technology, the defining social moment for computing. And I think it's going to be huge. I think it's breathed a whole new generation of life into personal computing, and I think it's going to be huge. Yeah.
Again, an entrepreneur, what did he say? He believes that commerce.
This is a real B&H customer story. Fred Smith, fitness instructor.
That commerce, books, all of the things that you sold on TV or you sold through catalogs is going to be facilitated over the internet. And was he wrong? But again, this man, Steve Jobs, he was a visionary. He was an entrepreneur. So where he saw problems, where others saw problems, he saw opportunity. As I said before, this is your app store moment. This is JavaScript in the web browser moment for you, where now you have the ability, you have a blank canvas where you can go out here and you can create anything that you want to. Because you can fork this technology. Uniswap is just a fork of Bancor. And then SushiSwap is just a fork of the Uniswap application. You can go out here and start forking a lot of this technology and going out here and creating your own applications, your own protocols. Because of open source technology, you have the ability to do that. As I said before, when Steve Jobs created this device and he launches that app store, if you knew how to make apps back then, back in 2008, 2009, you were a shark in a pond because there was so much demand for your skills. and not a lot of competition. That's where you are right now with crypto. And you have people like Nassim Taleb who they realize that there's a lot of opportunity here. So people like Nassim Taleb and Paul Krugman and Peter Schiff, they need to take the opposite end because, see, they can't compete in the marketplace of ideas, in the marketplace of creativity. You can. Like I said, there are people who have created whole brands around being a TikToker, around 30 and 60-second videos. But those people, they would not even be able to know their creativity if this device doesn't exist. This device in the App Store makes all of this creativity possible. JavaScript in the web browser allows YouTube to be possible because back with the Web 1.0, all you could do is read static pages. But then JavaScript comes to the browser and it allows the browser to become dynamic now. Now you can write to your browser. You can create content and be a content creator. The problem is with the Web 2.0, the tech companies, they're basically gobbled up all the real estate and created a monopoly, and they created this centralized world where they control the flow of information. So they control what you see, how you see it, when you see it, and what you can say. For the very first time now, you have the ability, and this is why I always show that, to invest in these base layer protocols. Imagine if you could invest in TCP/IP and SMTP and a www or HTTP or HTTPS. You didn't have the ability to invest in those protocols. When you invest in Ethereum, when you invest in Cardano, when you invest into Avalanche, you're investing in base layer protocols that you own a piece of a network. And then all of these applications are going to be built on top of these networks. That's the power that you have at your fingertips right now. This is your JavaScript moment in the browser. This is your App Store moment. Don't squander it listening to people like Nassim Taleb that are academics that's going to tell you every reason why something won't work, and focus on trying to figure out why it would work. Guess what? Behaviors change over time. If I said to you, and Gary Vee spoke about this, I'm borrowing this from Gary Vee. If I came to you 15 years ago and I said to you that you would feel more comfortable putting your daughter in a car with a stranger than getting her a car for her 16th birthday, you would say, hell no, I wouldn't do that. But then an app like Uber comes along. Understand that Uber's only leveraging and standing on the back of Google Maps data. It's just plugging into an interface, an API, and just querying data. If things like Stripe doesn't exist, then if mobile payment merchants don't exist, Uber doesn't exist, right? So someone has to pave the way for the next applications to be able to come out and exist. These things exist because of existing technology. Satoshi stood on the backs of other people's work. Adam Back with Hashcash. Nick Szabo. Stuart Haber was the originator of the blockchain back from the Xerox days. Satoshi simply just took existing technology, blended it together to solve the double spending problem. So yes, Bitcoin is technically limited, but this is why we have Ethereum now. This is why we have Cardano. This is why we have Avalanche. Right? Iterations. You have the ability to be a part of that. So yes, Dogecoin and SafeMoon and Cumrocket and Ripple, they will suck a lot of the attention into the scams because the average person is stupid. Let's just be real about that, right? The average person is in the right place at the right time and they're going to miss this wealth transfer. That doesn't mean that you have to. If you're listening and following the correct information, the correct people. Now, can you get lucky with the Cumrocket and the SafeMoon and maybe, or a Ripple? Yeah, maybe. But in the end, the people who are really going to actually make a bulk of the money are going to be the people that actually solve real world problems. And that's happening on the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum is dominating in every metric you can possibly think of. And as I said before, when you look at Goldman Sachs with the repo market and JP Morgan with the repo market that they created, notice it's happening on top of Ethereum. When you look at the European Investment Bank, they're not choosing Ripple, they're not choosing Dogecoin, they're choosing Ethereum. It's a reason why they're choosing Ethereum, because Ethereum is the dominant network for applications and utility. When you look at these NFT projects like Audius, it's on top of the Ethereum network. It's not all garbage like Ripple. It's not happening on garbage like Dogecoin. It's happening on top of Ethereum. So see, I can place my bet safely because I understand where we're going to go and what this technology is going to do in the long run. Many of you are going to miss out on it. Audius on top of the Ethereum blockchain. Not Ripple, not Dogecoin, not SafeMoon, and not Bitcoin. Bitcoin was designed to be digital gold. I have gold coins right here. I have silver right here. Gold is designed to be hard money. That's about it. It's clunky. It's hard to move. Yes, it has some industrial uses, but for the most part, people who buy gold are holding their gold. They hoard their gold. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. You buy your Bitcoin, you hold it. You can't do anything with it. Now, if you want to do something with your Bitcoin, guess what you have to do? You have to wrap it, turn it into an ERC20, and bring it over to the superior network, which is Ethereum. So that's the power with this technology. When you see Jay-Z creating an NFT, he's not creating an NFT on Ripple, Dogecoin, SafeMoon. He's not doing it on top of Cardano. He's doing it on top of the Ethereum network or an application that's sitting on top of Ethereum. That's the power you have. Kings of Leon. Beeple. Right? So when people like Nassim Taleb make these critiques, they're making these critiques because at the end of the day, they have a vested interest in doing so. They're going to get paid to do this, right? Like he's right now, his books are going to start to sell more and more. He's going to sell more and more books like this. He's going to get booked more. And I held it upside down, excuse me, right here. He's going to get booked more. He's going to get more lectures. He's going to make more appearances. But when people actually want to question him about the things that he's out here saying, this is what he says. Listen, you fucking idiot, go write your own rebuttal. Because he doesn't want to have conversation. Because he knows and understands that if he begins to have conversation, number one, he's going to turn most people off because he's a boring speaker. Right? And he goes off on these tangents. Number one, it's very hard to understand him when he speaks because he has a really thick accent. And then he's so stuck in the world of academia. So, you know, the world is dominated by people who go out here and they view problems as opportunities. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to understand the power that's at your fingertips right now. This is why I'm so big on you learning how to code, why we have our coding bootcamp inside of My Tech Academy, because coding allows you to express yourself, to take smart contracts and turn them into so many different applications and use cases like people were able to do with JavaScript. JavaScript in a browser, people were able to take that and just change it and do so many different things with it. This device allowed so many people to go and create food blogs and musicians and be an influencer, all because of this device that was created. This is your moment right now to go out here and be creative. So now you can be creative and you could be an entrepreneur and you can go out here and you can develop talent and cultivate talent that you never knew you even had. Or you can listen to this person and be a critic. The choice is yours. But see, understand that this technology has been chugging along for 12 years and it's being adopted. Also understand that this technology is disruptive. So it's going to be adopted slowly by institutions and banks. Why? Because this technology is designed to take power away from middlemen. This technology is designed to take power away from governments, to take power away from institutions like banks. So why would they be quick to adopt it? It's not designed to empower banks, right? Bankers. It's the reason why Satoshi created Bitcoin in the first place was because of what happened in 2008 with the Great Recession, and that people realized how vulnerable the system truly was, and that we needed a different form of money or a harder form of money. And Bitcoin serves that purpose well. But there's more to finance than just being hard money. There's borrowing, there's lending, there's insurance on a blockchain, there's derivatives on a blockchain, there's real estate on a blockchain, there's money markets, debt markets, capital markets. All of that has to be facilitated, and Bitcoin can't do that in its current form, in its current iteration. So this is where we currently are. So yes, I understand why he's asking these questions, and I understand what he's doing. And I wanted to make this video to let you know that academics have been wrong time and time again. People like Clifford Stoll, what's his name? Clifford Stoll has been wrong. And at least, unlike other people, he can come out and admit that he's wrong, right? So it says, spoiler, the article's author, Clifford Stoll, predicts that the internet will die after 1996. At the time, Stoll was living in Silicon Valley as a technology author and columnist for Newsweek. In his article, Stoll claimed that the internet will never work because hardware and software will top out in the mid-90s. Thus, the internet will never, ever get any more user-friendly or portable. Also, it is different and scary. Let's go. It says Stoll still lives in Silicon Valley and has seen the outcome of his prediction, has since commented on his bold 1995 article. Of my many mistakes, flubs, and howlers, few have been as public as my 1995 howler. Wrong. Yep. Now, whenever I think I know what's happening, I temper my thoughts. Might be wrong, Cliff. At least he can admit that he was wrong. But when you're in his position, he still was able to capture wealth because he was in Silicon Valley. You right now, as a person that's sitting around in your home and you may have $50,000 or $100,000 to invest, you don't have the opportunity to get it wrong. You don't have the privilege or the leverage to get it wrong. We are going through the fourth industrial revolution. We are going through the Great Reset. Many of you're witnessing inflation happen right before your very eyes. If you don't get this one right, there will be no other opportunities going forward. The whole idea of middle class is getting wiped out. It's either you're going to be rich and have money and have access to things, or you're going to be poor. That's it. That's the whole idea of the Great Reset, the whole idea of duality, of a binary world. It's either you have or you don't. It's either you will do or you won't. As I said yesterday, and I'll start taking questions now, when preparation meets opportunity, success is inevitable. When you are prepared for what you're looking for and the opportunity presents itself, you will be successful. When you are taking out the time and you're learning about how to harness this technology, how to build this technology, how to use this technology, when you're playing with these platforms, you can do so many wonderful things. When you're using TikTok, when you're using Instagram, you can create so many different things. I watch some people 60-second snaps or 60-second TikToks or Instagrams, and I say to myself, wow, like how creative you have to be to do that. That's the power in this, right? But someone had to create that. Satoshi blessed you. And then Vitalik stood on the back of Satoshi, and Charles stood on the back of Satoshi, because guess what? Satoshi stood on the back of other famous cryptographers that came before him. You have that chance right now. You have that chance to either, again, listen to a critic or go out here and be an entrepreneur or listen to a Steve Jobs. The choice is really yours. So I'm going to take some questions right now. I saw a few donations come through. Let me acknowledge those donations right now. Thanks for your knowledge. What's your take on AMP? I have no take on AMP or Cardano. I think that Charles is a brilliant mind. I own a little bit of Cardano. I used to have a big bag of it. I just got tired of all of the broken promises and the delays. So eventually I sold off a lot of my position, and I don't regret doing that. In March, they were supposed to come out with the Alonzo update and have smart contracts. And of course, like in Cardano's fashion, they had to delay it. So now they're talking about in August that they should get smart contracts. And I ask people this all the time, and no one can ever answer this question for me. Right now, today, why, based upon the actual applications that Cardano has out here right now, why are you buying it? Why do you own Cardano? Outside of the promises that Charles, with him and his stupid ass hats and his ego on his shoulder and his rugs that he wears on his body and his hour-long monologues that he goes on. Outside of that, why are you buying Cardano? Right now, if you're just gambling, you're saying, you know what, I'm speculating on the future of what Cardano could be, then understand that. But then it's no Ethereum killer, right? In order to be an Ethereum killer, you have to have smart contracts. You have to be in the game. That's like me sitting up here saying that I could compete with LeBron James. I'm not even in the NBA. Right? I'm better than LeBron James. I can compete with LeBron James. I'm not even in the goddamn NBA. In order for you to be able to say that you can take market share from Ethereum, that your product is better than Ethereum, then you need to have a fully working product that can compete with Ethereum. If you don't have that, then you're just again, you know, being provocative for the sake of being provocative and talking for the sake of talking. And I you know, I'm at a place now where I don't mind investing in potential, but you have to have something to show me what I'm investing in. And all he cites is, we have a paper and we have a cryptographic proof of this and we have a proof of that. Great. That's great. Talk to me for another hour with your stupid ass hat on. But at the end of the day, when I care about results, because see, I invest people's money, right? And when I take someone's money, I can't come to them and say, hey, you know, I listened to Charles talk for an hour and he told us that we're going to get smart contracts, but we didn't get them yet, right? I want to invest in things that actually are working. They have products and services, things that I can see, and I can see a progress happening, not, oh, we're delayed again, we're delayed again. So that's how I feel about Cardano. But I like what they're doing with identity. I like what the inroads that they're making in Africa. I think that if they ever get their act together, as I said before, I believe that Ethereum is going to capture the decentralized finance space. I believe that Cardano is going to capture the enterprise in the government space. I think that different blockchains are going to capture different niches and carve out different niches. And I believe that just like how you have HTTP and www and all of these different protocols that facilitates communication on the internet, and they all talk to each other, I believe that Polkadot is going to facilitate that, where blockchains can talk to each other. I do not believe that there's going to be one blockchain that rules them all. I believe that different blockchains have different use cases, but whichever use case that they particularly decide to dominate, they're going to dominate that particular space. 757 Trucker says, sorry for the error. So I guess I answered your question. Not to get off topic, wherever convenient, where does gold and silver fit in this, in your opinion? I feel like gold is always going to have a role, for the simple fact of it's physical. It's something that you can hold and touch. You have silver, right? It's a fast conductor of electricity. It has industrial uses. So gold and silver is always going to have use cases, because at the end of the day, right, when you use your silver in electronics, it's extremely hard. In some cases you can get it back, but in most cases you can't get it back once you actually put it into an electronics. As you can see with all of these different drones and self-driving cars, that's more technology, more microchips, more microprocessors. So I can definitely see a world where, you know, silver is going to, our silver stockpiles are definitely going to be strained and stressed. So again, gold and silver always will have use cases. There's also, you have to think about boomers, older people in the world, where they don't feel comfortable having a lot of their net worth tied up into, you know, like little devices like this, like a ledger, right? Most people, they're going to want to have, you know, their gold coins that they can actually hold and they can actually touch. So I can definitely see that definitely fits in and has a role. Now, I do think that millennials and younger, you know, that we are more online, we're more digital, and I can see us adopting more digital currencies and things of that nature. So I can definitely see that, like, us adopting tokenized versions of gold and silver. But again, you still would have to be trusting a third party to custody those assets whenever you try to tokenize gold and silver. So that goes back to the argument of how much decentralization do you really need and how much do you really want, right? Like in Bitcoin's case, right, trying to be digital gold, you need the most and the highest amount of security and decentralization. In other aspects, you know, you don't really need that much decentralization. Like there has to be a trade-off. And if you want to tokenize your gold and silver, like some people are trying to do, there's a role for that as well. So gold and silver will always fit in terms of its industrial uses, and you could definitely tokenize it and bring more assets on board. Because another thing with DeFi is that many of the actual assets that are used for collateral, they're just other digital assets. So like, you know, you may use like Ethereum as collateral to create an over collateralized loan. So what Aave is trying to do now, and Maker as well, is they're trying to tokenize real world assets like real estate and hard money and bring that onto the blockchain so that we can have different forms of collateral. And I definitely see that that's definitely going to happen. So gold and silver definitely has a role to play. How much of a role, you know, that's up for the debate. Let me put this down here so I can see a little bit better. There we go. All right, there we go. It's Joel Hogan says, congrats on all the success. Have you used QuickSwap on Polygon? Any thoughts? They have an airdrop coming. Hopefully you cover it like you did Uni. Yes, I've used the QuickSwap platform. I've also I've used Polygon because I've been a big investor in it. I recently, well, not recently, but right before the drop happened, maybe like 2-3 weeks, I told you guys I was scaling out of Matic just because I've been around long enough to understand that it's not about how much money you make on paper. It's about how much money you actually book in your wallet, right? At a certain point, you have to sell in order for you to become a millionaire. Because my mentor always told me the story about during the dot-com bubble, how he made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on paper, but he gave most of it back, like many people during the dot-com bubble, right? So I definitely was booking my gains as I was, 50x, 60x up. That's just smart investing, intelligent investing. I believe that Matic, aka Polygon, they're going to have a lot of competition with Optimism and Arbitrum coming up and other layer 2s. That doesn't mean that it's a bad investment. It just simply means that the investment opportunity isn't the same when I first got involved. Also understand that, Matic is starting to get some heat because they have admin keys. And one of the problems with admin keys is that who controls those admin keys? That's the point of centralization. That's the point of failure, because whoever those admins are can eventually drain your funds. So you're going to see a lot of competition coming in here and a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt start to come out now about Polygon and Matic. Again, not saying it's a bad investment, not saying that you should sell it, just letting you know what's around there. I like the idea of the whole idea of layer 2. It dramatically reduces, because it's not it's more of like a commit chain, right? It's not a side chain, and it's not really a layer 2 when you look at Polygon. It's more of a commit chain. But it helps with the congestion and within the Ethereum ecosystem. So I can see it there, and it definitely reduces gas fees. So yeah, QuickSwap is cool. Just be, like I said again, just be careful with putting so much money on top of these layer 2s, especially a layer 2 that has admin keys, because remember, Mark Cuban was recently rug pulled of Titan Finance. That could very well happen in something like Matic or Polygon. So just be mindful about how much money you're putting on QuickSwap and stuff like that. Mayonnaise 2G, thank you for the donation. Says IBM has the DLT called TradeLens that they are using with Maserati for logistics. I hope I said that word correctly. Yes, I know a lot of companies, they have their own version of private blockchains or enterprise blockchains. And you're only going to start seeing that more and more and more. I believe that Microsoft has their own blockchain technologies and services as well. Again, those are more blockchain as a service for corporations and companies to adopt rather than creating their own private blockchains. When I was talking about JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, they're actually facilitating trade and commerce on it right now, not something that they're trying to sell to other people. And again, that's happening on top of Ethereum. But yes, IBM does have their own distributed ledger technology. I think that's all of the donations, right? There's Joel Hogan. I answered you. Malik, 757 Trucker. Pocket Watcher with JT, and I'll come back to Boyce Watkins right now, since these are the last two questions. What's your thoughts on Mark Cuban getting rugged? That's just a part of the game. I don't like the fact that he got rug pulled and then now all of a sudden he turns around and he wants to call for the regulators, right? The whole purpose of this technology is to get rid of regulators, to get rid of middlemen. You have a smart contract that you can audit and you can view exactly how the smart contract is supposed to operate. And you can see, for example, that's how I know Matic has admin keys, because I can view the code and I can see that they have admin keys in there, right? So now I can make a decision if I want to put my money in there and how much money I want to put in there, right? See, one thing you have to understand is that with all of these technologies, again, they're technologies, they have risk. All technology has risk, right? You have protocol risk, right? You have software risk. There could be bugs in the software, flaws in there. So you have to know how much risk is in the particular protocol. This is why people view Bitcoin as being safer than a lot of these other cryptocurrencies, because Bitcoin at the end of the day, it's withstood the test of time, and it starts to get the Lindy effect. Like the longer something exists, the more likely it is to continue to keep existing. And every Bitcoin's been tried and tested. It's the OG. So this is why like a lot of institutional investors who are allocating billions of dollars, they feel safer putting money with a Bitcoin than a lot of these new protocols that's being launched on top of Ethereum, because again, they're not tried and tested. And what happened with, Titan Finance, the same thing has happened with the Binance Smart Chain, is that you have a lot of novice people, amateurs who don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't listen to people like me. They don't listen to people like Chris Black. I think his name is Cliff. Is it Chris Black or Chris Barrick? He's on Twitter, and he's always talking about, a lot of the issues with a lot of these DeFi protocols, but people don't care. They only care about the gains. See, people don't care until they get rug pulled, right? When you sit up here, you try to tell them like, hey, Matic has admin keys. A lot of people don't care. So they just go ape into something. And then when you get rug pulled, you get burned, because think about it. If I'm a developer, or if I'm a person who audits smart contracts, and I find a flaw in your smart contract, and you have, $9 billion or $8 billion sitting in that smart contract or in those pools, you think I'm going to tell you? You're only paying me $100,000 or $200,000 to audit your smart contract, but I can flash loan attack you and get millions. What do you think's going to happen? People who are smart enough, who know where you're vulnerable at, they're going to wait for you to build up a huge amount of capital in your liquidity pools, and they're going to drain them and attack them. That's just the way things operate and happens within this space. You have to be smart enough and listen to smart people, where, again, you can listen to someone and take into consideration what they're saying. That doesn't mean you have to act on what they're saying, right? You can eat the meat and spit out the bone. So if I know that there's some potential risk, rather than investing $20,000, I'm only invest $5,000, right? So I know that I'm tailoring my risk based upon the potential risk inside of those particular pools or inside of that particular protocol. Mark Cuban didn't do that. Mark Cuban wanted to seem cute and act like he knows what he's talking about, because he's going on all of these shows and getting all these interviews, but he's not really looking at the smart contract code, because if he was looking at it, he would have never put his money in Titan Finance. Like, any person with a IQ above room temperature wouldn't do that. Many of these schemes and scams that you see on the Binance Smart Chain and even on top of Ethereum, I mean, common sense would say to you, how are they paying out these 40% APYs and 30% APYs? Because you're the exit liquidity. So they want to suck you in with these large farms so they can then dump on you. That's just the way the game goes. You have to be smart enough to not fall for that. What do I think about Shiba and Nu with Shiba Swap coming out? I think it's absolutely garbage. I think it's going to pump because most people don't care. And most people are going to get dumped on, just like Dogecoin. At a certain point, ask yourself, how many different swaps do we need? How many different swapping exchanges do we need? Okay, we have Uniswap. We have Sushi Swap. We have 0x. We have Banker. We have Balancer. Why do we need Shiba? What is Shiba Swap bringing to the marketplace that's so unique? What is it bringing to the marketplace that's unique? What is the product market fit? And again, I'm not attacking you. I'm just talking in general, right? Like, at a certain point, you have to start using your brain and saying to yourself, it's like, what was the other one they had? Safe Moon, and they had Safe Swap. Why the hell do you need another decentralized exchange? You have Changely, you have BISC. There's enough decentralized exchanges. We don't need that many more. We just don't. Right? You have Pancake Swap. And I'm just naming a few off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there's more than that. At a certain point, you have to start saying to yourself, right? They're just creating these things to pacify you, right? There's nothing unique that Shiba is bringing to the marketplace that hasn't been already explored. They're banking on the fact that many of you, because of the way the economy is structured, because many of you are poor and you're struggling because of inflation, because of a lack of your government taking care of you properly and doing the right thing, many of you're in these Hunger Game like mindsets and positions where it's like you have to go into Wall Street bets and figure out AMC and this was going to pump, because for many of you this is like your survival, right? So I get it. And I'm not telling you not to play that game. If you want to play that game, but just know that you're playing a game. You're not investing. You're playing hot potato with a grenade. You're basically saying, I'm going to pull the pin on this grenade and I'm tossing it to the next person. I'm getting in at 1 and I'm trying to get out at 2. And as long as you know that, and you know that it's not investing, and you're not investing more than you can afford to lose, you'll be fine. But if you believe that this technology, that Shiba Swap, is anything revolutionary, is anything game-changing, you're kidding yourself. You're lying to yourself. So just know that, right? Know that you're playing hot potato with a grenade. And if the grenade explodes on you, don't be mad, right? Know what you're doing. Charles Swain, I think we will trade sideways for a while. What's your prediction with the overall market cap of crypto within the next year or so? I stand by, again, I accurately called the correction that we was going to have two months ago when I was telling you guys that Ripple, SafeMoon, and Cumrock is going to cause the market to tank. But there's no reason why Ripple should have anywhere close to a $50 billion valuation, anything close to a $20 billion valuation. Ripple is shit. It is garbage. There's no reason why Dogecoin should have a $74 billion market cap. It's insane to even watch Dogecoin. What does Dogecoin do? Who's actually using Dogecoin? How much activity is happening on top of Dogecoin? What's the use case? What's the product market fit? The only reason why you're buying Ripple or Dogecoin, you're buying Ripple because you believe they're going to beat their SEC case. You're not buying it because of their business model. You're not buying it because banks are adopting it. You're not buying it because people are downloading applications and utilizing the liquidity and things that Ripple is providing or the services. No, you're buying it because you believe that they're going to beat their SEC case. That's bullshit. That's garbage. That's not a real use case. That's not utility. That's not what you want to see. You want to see people using a product and service because they believe that it makes their lives easier, right? The service makes their lives easier, not because, oh, I'm buying Dogecoin because Elon Musk is tweeting about it. That's what use case is that? And don't tell me you can buy Mavericks tickets. You can use any cryptocurrency as a medium of exchange. So that idea that, oh, I can get Mavericks tickets. How many people really want Mavericks tickets outside of the people that live in Dallas, right? You can use a stable coin to do that, right? So when I see that, I know for a fact that we have a lot of room to the downside and we have to punish idiots. So that's just the way markets, the way that markets function. So I predicted that we were going to hit about, 28 to 24K Bitcoin. We did that. I see the market oscillating back and forth where we'll probably go up to like 40K, back down to 28, 40K, back down to 28. And we do this, right? And I use Bitcoin as the barometer because that's where most of the institutional money is flowing towards Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then eventually it trickles down to the other coins. So I can see us being in this sideways channel up until mid to late July. And then in August, just like last August, how DeFi took off and lifted the whole market, I see that happening again. So August going into the fall is when the bull market will continue. In terms of, again, I still stand on my prediction, around $100 Chainlink, 5K Ethereum is what I see at the end of the year. And most people say, no, how could, like, Ethereum's definitely going to be higher than 5K. Looks like I'm pretty right now, right? Ethereum's going to slowly grind up. Same thing with Bitcoin. And it may break a little bit above 5K, but at the end of the year, I see us trading somewhere around 5K. Watching garbage like Ripple and Dogecoin pump makes me long-term bullish because I know that dumb money eventually has to flow towards Chainlink. Chainlink has over 600 integrations. There's no reason why Chainlink is not a $50 billion cryptocurrency. Chainlink solved the Oracle problem when no one knew there was an Oracle problem. Chainlink is like that type of, that middleware is something that you have to have. If you have any type of application that's going to be autonomous, you need Chainlink. Yet it's trading around what, $13 billion, $14 billion as we speak. 8 billion. Let's see. Let's pull up and see what Chainlink, like it's laughable that Dogecoin could ever be higher than Chainlink. That's how you know that we're early, which is a good thing for many of you that you missed out on it. Like, why the hell would Ripple be trading higher than Chainlink? Look at, why is Ripple worth $30 billion? What is Ripple doing right now that is $30 billion? But yet Chainlink is $8 billion. Chainlink has over 600 integrations. Right now, they're working with Swift to bring Swift messages onto the blockchain. Yet Chainlink's only at $8 billion. That's how you know that there's such a gross miscalculation and misallocation of capital. But when you have idiots investing, this is what you have. This is why, if you're smart, you start building a portfolio. Same thing with Solana. Solana's a beast. The more I study the technology behind Solana, Solana's an absolute monster. Why the hell is Ripple higher than Solana? What is Ripple doing? What does Ripple have that's fundamentally that's better than Chainlink or better than Solana? Nothing. But again, you have Ripple tards, the XRP army. That's what they do, right? So just, understand what you're buying. Same thing with Bitcoin Cash. Why is Bitcoin Cash even in the top 25? Why? If you need cheap payments, just use a stable coin. You don't need it. So this is why I could be so bullish on things like Telcoin, because I see that there's such a misallocation of capital. So the market's going to trade sideways up until August, and then that's where we're going to see a major lift off. Birth of the Cool says, what are your thoughts on Dr. Gavin Wood and Polkadot's future? I love Polkadot. Polkadot is my third favorite cryptocurrency. I keep trusting to you guys. First of all, Dr. Gavin Wood is one of the co-founders of Ethereum and creators of Ethereum, and he built out the spec for the Ethereum virtual machine, and he created the Solidity programming language. So clearly, Gavin Wood knows what the hell he's doing. He's not a newbie nor an amateur, and he quickly realized that there's a lot of in the current capacity that Ethereum is in, it just can't do the things that they were hoping it can do. And he realized that the world is going to be a multi-chain world. It's not going to be, one blockchain that rules them all. And the more and more I study, the more and more I read, the more and more I play around with this technology and even try to develop and build my own cryptocurrency, I realized that there will not be one blockchain to rule them all. See, when you go on the internet right now, right? All of these protocols are talking to each other, and they're formatting and structuring how information will be formatted and transmitted over the internet. You don't see these protocols talking to each other because it's seamless, right? You just go on there and you type in ESPN.com and it pops up within milliseconds, right? But understand that data is being cached and stored and transmitted through 420 fiber optic cables spread all throughout the world, right? That information is being sent in packets all over. You don't see that process. That's the beauty of engineering, right? That's happening in a back end. That's the same thing that's going to happen with a lot of these protocols, like with Ethereum and, like I said, in Cardano and Avalanche and Solana. Like, they're all going to talk to each other, and it's going to be in a seamless way. Like, you're not going to know the difference between using Ethereum versus using Cardano. I believe that Cardano is going to capture, like, governments are going to feel comfortable using something like an ICP or using something like a Cardano, because governments want to be able to have some form of control, right? Governments want to have some type of backdoor into, okay, we give you a digital identity, but we want to be able to revoke that identity if need be. So they're going to use something like a Cardano or an ICP where they can have some type of, control in terms of how you're using the protocol. I can see enterprises adopting something like Cardano, because one thing about a business, you have to think about it. Businesses like to know their costs. See, no business will really, no like serious business that's like, let's say like you're like a supply chain, they're not going to adopt Ethereum because gas fees are as of right now, they're spiking up and down all over the place, right? Businesses like to know for a fact, like, how much my costs are going to actually be. So I can see a world where businesses adopt something like a Cardano that's much more stable in terms of what their fees are going to be. Whereas in terms of, like, trading, derivatives, yield farming, I can see that happening on top of Ethereum, because obviously bankers and institutional traders, they love fees, right? So there's going to be different products that serve different blockchains better, right? Like, as an enterprise, as a business, you have to have your costs fixed because you have a budget that you have to stick to. But again, Polkadot's a beast project. Cosmos is another beast project. They're going to facilitate blockchains talking to each other, and that's why it's on my top 5 list. I've been buying more and more and more and more. And I just think that is some amazing technology. But understand, the more ambitious a project is and the more complex it is, the larger the attack surface is and will be. And the more likely that something can potentially go wrong, right? So with a lot of reward comes a lot of risk. And you just have to be mindful of that when you are, investing. So really, really big project. Where we're going, right? So, but back to earlier when people were talking about Boyce Watkins, right? Because Boyce Watkins reminds me of Nassim Taleb when we were talking about that earlier, right? If you go to, let's go to Boyce Watkins' channel, right? Because, Boyce Watkins, he understands that the same way like Nassim Taleb, the only way I can get traffic to my channel is I have to talk about trending things or be provocative, right? So if I come here, here we go. Oh, here we go, right here. Right? If you look at this, right, just look at his videos. He got 21,000 views by talking about 5 disturbing things about the BET Awards. Boyce understands that the only way that I'm going to drive traffic to my channel, because people don't care about finance. Let's just be honest, right? Especially black people, right? Most black people don't care about intellectual things like this. Most black people worship celebrities. So Boyce understands that. So he goes for low-hanging fruit, because what he wants to do is he wants to throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. So he wants to talk about Kevin Samuels. He wants to talk about Kwame Brown. He wants to talk about the BET Awards to get you in a funnel. It's marketing. Get you in a funnel and then market to you that he has a solution to stop what happening at the BET Awards, right? And, it's a marketing strategy. I'm not knocking the strategy in terms of getting traffic there. What I will knock is that, okay, when you take him up on the offer and you go, all right, Boyce, you got me here, right? I'm watching Little Nas X, whatever the case may be. There's not a lot of substance once you take him up on the offer. And the reason why there's not a lot of substance is because he's too busy talking about celebrities. He doesn't spend enough time really honing his skill in terms of finance, right? This is why Boyce is always chasing what's trending, right? He's chasing Dogecoin. He's chasing Ripple. He's chasing AMC. See, Boyce can't tell you what's going to happen. Boyce is like an academic. He only can talk to you about what is happening or what has happened. When you come over here, go back and watch my older videos. I was talking to you about Ethereum when it was $100. And I was telling you what Ethereum was going to go and do. I was talking to you about the autonomous future that we're going into, the great reset that we're going into, about how technology and software is going to eat the world. 2 years ago, I was talking to you about this stuff, right? So just understand what you're getting when you're dealing with a Boyce, right? Boyce is all about trying to, throw a whole bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks, right? So if it's reparations this week, I'm going to talk about it. If it's Jay Morrison, I'm going to talk about it. But he's not solution-based, right? Like telling you to quit your job is dangerous. Right? Like that's the last thing you should be doing, right? Putting together a plan, building up some capital, starting a business on the side, learning the business on the side, working full-time on your fortune. No, working part-time on your fortune and full-time on your job is what you should be doing, right? You should be working full-time at work and part-time on your fortune. And then when you start earning income with your business, and that income can basically replace or somewhat, supplement the income you was earning at your job, then you leave your job. That's smart, right? But again, his rhetoric is just, it's inflammatory. It's designed to get your attention. But if you just go look at his stuff, like look at the things that get the most views on his channel. It's all gossip stuff. It's all him talking about other people. And then what Boyce goes out here, what he does is that, he'll talk about you first. And then when you talk about him, he goes, well, why are you talking about me for? Right? Why are you talking about me for? Right? Like he'll talk about Kwame Brown. Right. He'll he doesn't want to pick a side. He'll try to play like, I'm Uncle Boyce and I'm just in the middle. But in the reality, he is picking a side. Right. That's just the way he's going. So you got to know what you're dealing with, and what's going on here. But if you just look at his videos, just look at it. He's constantly talking about everything else but finance. And when he talks about finance, he doesn't get a lot of views. That's just the reality. Look. Kanye West, he talks about celebrity, he gets 27,000 views. He talks about Kanye, he gets 6,000 views. He talks about Kanye, he gets 15,000 views, right? So that's what he's doing, So just be mindful of that and know what you're doing. I wouldn't take any relationship advice from this man. I wouldn't take any political advice from this man. I wouldn't take any investing advice from this man. If you like race entertainment, I view him and Tariq Nasheed the same way. Like they're entertainers, right? Like if you want to listen to a person ramble on for hours incoherently, then that's what you would do. Pocket Watching with JT, again, another channel, guys. He really goes into some good information. Yes, I'm going to drop a video on Boyce Watkins soon. He's a talking head scholar that never worked in the field. It's crazy. Absolutely. See, when you go to Pocket Watching with JT's channel, and I love his channel, because he's not just talking about what's trending. He's giving you information from an accountant's perspective. This is very important. So when he's talking about Polite and the PPP fraud, there's a lot of you right now that you're growing up in you're young black males and you need access to capital. There's not a lot of capital in our neighborhoods. And a person can come to you and say, I can get you a PPP loan. And you'll be like, you know what? I want that. And I can see some of you falling for that. And then now you end up putting yourself in a criminal situation because you're committing fraud and you don't really know what you're doing. That's happening to a lot of people that I know. They took out PPP loans and they don't know. So when JT makes that video, it's not just him gossiping about Polite. He's talking about the pitfalls that you can fall into if you take out a fraudulent PPP loan. That's educating you, right? So yes, Polite's he's a controversial figure, but he's not using it to slander Polite. He's using it to teach you. When he's talking about Umar Johnson and the bullshit that's happening with the school, he's not doing it in a way that's attacking Umar Johnson. He's talking to you about how what he's doing with his taxes isn't on the up and up. That's informative. That's educating the community. It has nothing to do with Umar, right? It's not about Umar as a person. It's about what Umar's doing as, a person who's controlling millions of dollars of black people's money. These are the things that, any real scholar or academic would be doing, not sitting up here talking about 5 disturbing things about the BET Awards. Who cares about the BET Awards? I haven't watched BET in probably 10, 15 years. There's nothing on BET for me to be watching. Again, he's going after low-hanging fruit, and you just have to be mindful of that and just know what he's going after, right? Just be mindful of that. Justice Bourne says, Polite scammed me twice. It is what it is. Yeah, but listen, guys, we've all been scammed before. I've been scammed. You don't think I've been burned, right? You have to. One of my students came into the academy and burnt me for 40 grand. Right? I did a video where I was demonstrating how to use the atomic wallet. I took the funds out the wallet, but I forgot to create a new wallet, a new seed phrase. Well, guess what? I put my funds back in there. My student came in there and burned me for 40K. It happens, right? It's part of wins and losses is part of the game. You're never going to win them all. You're never going to lose them all. You just have to make sure that you stay in the game. See, many of you're constantly looking for quick fixes, right? So this is why you constantly are bouncing around from platform to platform. Many of you don't spend, like JT said, many of you don't spend enough time in your field that you're trying to work in or you're trying to be an entrepreneur in, right? So this week you're watching Earn Your Leisure and you're trying to learn how to start a vending machine business. And then next week you're on the Stock Trappers channel and you're learning how to be a trapper with your baking soda and your Pepsi stock. And then next week you're looking at Him 500 and you're trying to be a credit specialist, right? You're bouncing all over the place. Many of you don't take enough time and just say, I'm going to sit here for a year or two and I'm going to try to master this particular industry. You're constantly bouncing all over the place. If you take time and you just say, you know what? Okay, I want to get into programming or being a web developer, right? Or I want to be a back-end developer, or, I want to get into machine learning or AI. Really dedicate yourself to something. If you want to be a marketer, you want to get into digital marketing, learn about the Facebook ads manager and the platform, master that. If you want to get into being a credit specialist and learning how to, what banks will, you can hit 2 times with getting 1 inquiry and stuff like that. Pick a field though. You want to get into real estate wholesaling, whatever it is, pick a field and put time into that field. Don't be bouncing all over the place and getting, this week is Dogecoin, next week is AMC. Like, master something. Don't be a jack of all trades where you're bouncing all over the place and every week, you're listening to this, you're listening to that, you're listening to this. Because you're going to be bouncing around with a chicken with your head cut off. Because understand, many of these content creators, They're not spending time trying to master anything. What they've mastered is the algorithm. Boyce is an algorithm chaser. And all they're going to do is keep talking to you about what's currently happening. They're not going to be talking to you about what's going to happen. And I just want to make sure that, I give you guys that type of game. So, so boop, 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 boop. What's going on here? Yeah, if you could get got, you will get got. Definitely. Yeah, everyone's a Toro specialist now. Pay attention to that, right? Everyone's an Airbnb. Right now, the wave is Airbnb, is Toro. I can teach you how to do real estate wholesaling. Like, just be mindful of these things. And I'm not saying that those things are scams. What I'm saying is that if you think you're just going to buy a course and you're going to take the course and in a week or two, you're going to go out here and start, making millions of dollars, you're lying to yourself. It takes time in an industry to really master an industry. You got to put some work in. You got to put some steady in it. I don't care if it's real estate wholesaling, if it's flipping real estate. I don't care if it's Airbnb, whatever the case may be. You got to put time into it, man. And you're not going to just take a course and master it. It takes time to become a, proficient in anything, right? It takes time at that. I wouldn't say courses are the hustle of the apartment gardener. I would say that courses give you a baseline level of information, right? Rather than you spending hours upon hours looking on the internet, because one of the problems with the internet is that, yes, there's free information out here, but it's scattered. And what happens with scattered information is it doesn't give you the opportunity to really just get to the information, to get the ball rolling, right? It keeps you, you're looking at this website, you're looking at this YouTube video. It's just a bunch of surface level information. A good course will get you up and running so that now if this is something for you for an affordable price. But you're still going to have to do a lot of actual real work. Like I tell people, you can watch JavaScript tutorials and HTML tutorials till you're blue in the face. Until you start actually building projects and collaborating and working with other people, you're really not going to become a good programmer, right? Anyone can code along with someone. You got to really learn how to, why are you doing things, the real fundamentals, and you get that with experience. You learn how to code by putting your hands on keys. It's the same thing with Toro or Airbnb. I can watch your video, but until I actually go out here and get my own real estate to do Airbnb, then I'm not going to really be good at Airbnb, right? I gotta really go out here and acquire the property and start renting out the properties and really learning the market, because every market is different. It's the same thing with Toro, right? Any hustle you're doing, right? So, yeah, same thing with truck driving, right? Everyone's a truck driving expert. And again, like I said before, man, I'm not against buying courses. I'm not saying that these guys are scamming you. I'm just simply saying to you that don't be a product junkie. Don't allow these people to keep constantly swaying you with their marketing, with their jets and their nice cars, and they're at the fight. So because this week, you're, like I said before, you're trying to be a trucking specialist, a Toro specialist, a credit specialist, you'll be bouncing all over the place. Find something that you like, find something that interests you, and put some time into it, right? Like JT said, put some time in the field, right? Don't just be a content creator, be an actual real creator. Like again, you can go back and watch my channel, watch my videos. I got videos talking about Mr. Jap and Bitcoin 2 years ago, right? Go to my other YouTube channel where I used to day trade live on my other YouTube channel, right? So I've been doing this for an extensive period of time. I didn't just wake up yesterday and say, oh yeah, I like blockchain, so let's make a crypto course. I've been doing this for over 9 years. Like, I've been doing this, documented. So don't let them charge you $15K for options and stock courses. Listen, I'm not here to knock no one's course. That I won't do. I'm not going to try to take any money out of anyone's pocket. I'm just going to tell you guys, be mindful and be careful. With that being said, though, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. please do me a favor and like this video, share this video, subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell, or make sure you join my mailing list so that you could be notified when I go live. Also, follow me on Instagram, shoot me a DM if you want to dialogue, if you have any questions. The lifetime memberships are back. You can simply go to the website and become a lifetime member. If you're interested in learning about this technology and just learning how to buy it, how to sell it, how to store it, how to build it, how it actually works, or on a deeper level, on a fundamental level, you can join my Tech Academy. We have a free 3-day trial, cost you absolutely nothing as long as you cancel within the first 3 days. With that being said, guys, I will see you during the next live stream. Have a blessed and beautiful night. My Instagram is in the description. It's Common Sense Eli.